Hi, and welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and for the next hour, we are going to learn about some very strong individuals and very brave individuals. Before I begin and give that secret away, I would like to thank you for tuning in and let you know that we are unable to take phone calls this evening, but if you do have a question, feel free to email me at talk@bcattv.org. I love to get email. And as usual, I would like to thank my wonderful volunteers who have given up their Wednesday evening to come and help out here. We have Colleen Moore, Director Extraordinaire. Thank you, Colleen, for coming in, and hopefully it's not too cold in the control room this evening. Little air conditioning issues. And we also have staff members, Corey McNeil and Kyle Ruffin, who help all the volunteers here, making sure everything stays running smoothly. And last but definitely not least, I would like to thank my husband, Paul, for staying home for Daddy Date Night. Hopefully the kids cooperated for you for bedtime, and I will see you in a little bit. Okay, I think that's all my administrative information. With a little personal note here, which I forgot to warn my wonderful guest about, who you will meet momentarily. September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And recently, I lost my very best friend that we've been friends over 35 years to ovarian cancer. So this episode is very important to me, so I really appreciate everyone tuning in. And Karen, this one's for you. So, sorry, wasn't supposed to get teary-eyed. But we have Heather LeRae, correct?
Yes.
Who is the founder of Hope and Friendship Foundation, which is a support group for metastatic breast cancer, correct?
Yes, Linda. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you.
I want to let you know that I'm sorry about your friend.
Thank you.
In women, breast cancer and ovarian cancer and uterine cancer, those are the hormone-driven cancers in women. And in men, prostate cancer is the hormone-driven cancer. So I'm just very sorry to hear about your friend. From our support group, in 3 months this summer, we lost 3 of our friends. The youngest being 34.
Oh, wow.
My other friend was 49 and left 4 children. And my other friend was over 50 and left 3 girls.
Oh, wow.
And they all had, their spouses or significant others. Our friend who was 34 had a 14-year-old son.
Oh, wow.
Who's now living with my friend's parents.
Oh.
So, these hormone-driven cancers, and even for those patients who aren't hormone positive, their treatment is much harder because the hormone treatments are really effective and last longer. So if you aren't hormone receptor positive in terms of the kind of cancer you have, it's harder to fight.
Oh, okay.
But these all start in organs, the uterus, the ovaries, and the breasts that are affected by hormones in women, and then the prostate is affected by the hormones in men.
Okay. Now, before we delve too much into the cancer awareness, usually in each show, just so we get to know the guest a little bit better, can you let us know a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up, how you came to the Eastern Mass area if you were not originally from here, and kind of how you got involved in Hope and Friendship?
Happy to do that, Linda.
Thank you.
So I'm 49 years old, which that in itself is a miracle, which we'll talk about some later.
Okay.
I grew up in Gloucester, very proud of the Gloucester Fishmen. Went to school in Lowell at the University of Lowell.
Okay. Yes, it was the University of Lowell at the time.
When I went to school, it was the University of
My
Lowell.
husband
I
went there too.
Went there twice, met my husband there.
Okay.
Undergrad, I became a registered nurse.
Ooh.
And graduate school, I became a nurse practitioner.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My primary experience and the love of my life is with children, so I worked at Children's Hospital in Boston for over 20 years.
Wow, so you focused on pediatrics?
Absolutely.
Okay.
With my specialty focus for 17 years was in plastic and reconstructive surgery with children.
Okay.
So, and I've done primary care as well and a
Okay.
bunch of other things, but kids are definitely where I get my energy from, for sure. And so how I became involved in Hope and Friendship, when I was 38 years old, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, which of course was an incredibly frightening experience.
Oh, it must have been.
And my husband and I were quite convinced that, you know, this was going to be it for me.
Okay.
I underwent biopsies which showed that it was stage 2B, which is considered somewhat early stage.
Okay.
But
now, what's the B?
It's just like you're that much closer to being stage 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like 2.5. kind
Almost,
of.
yeah.
Okay.
So it has to do with how far is it spread beyond the breast.
Okay.
Is it, you know, just in the breast tissue? Has it spread to the lymph nodes? Is it traveling up to the axilla, which is the underarm,
Okay.
etc.? So the stages increase 1, 2, 3, 4 as the amount of area and the amount of spread of the disease increases.
Okay.
So I was stage 2B. My treatment was a Dana-Farber. It required a mastectomy at age 38, chemotherapy and radiation.
Okay.
On my operative day, when I was in the pre-op holding room, waiting to go into surgery, there was a girl across from me who was 28 years old, who was already bald, so she had already had chemotherapy.
Okay.
She was there with her fiance, and she was having a double mastectomy.
Oh, wow.
So immediately after, you know, all of the about 1 month period of the shock and awe and being afraid for my life, along with my husband Anthony as well, and of course my parents.
Okay. Do you have children?
I do.
Okay. So it must have been tough for them as well.
Oh yeah, tough on my daughter, definitely.
Okay.
So, but on that day, the day that I was having my mastectomy, I immediately felt like, you know what, I'm lucky, because this girl was 28 and had already undergone chemo, was having a double mastectomy.
Kind of puts everything in perspective.
Very much in perspective. You know, she was engaged and looking forward to being married. I had already been married for 13 years, and I had my daughter, so, and I had a foster son too. So I just, that day was the first day that I was like, wow, I'm one of the lucky ones.
Okay.
And then you know, so that was when I was 38. The doctor told me that I, like anyone else with early stage breast cancer, had a 1 in 3 chance that it would come back as stage 4, meaning that it had spread to organs beyond the body.
Okay.
Breast cancer usually spreads to the brain, the lungs, and the bones, and the liver.
Oh, wow.
So he told me, you know, the risk of anyone going from an early stage to the terminal stage, which is stage 4, which is called metastatic, meaning that it's spread to another organ.
Okay.
It's still breast cancer cells,
Okay.
but they're breast cancer cells in another organ.
Okay.
So 1 in 3 women, this is a very unknown fact.
Yeah.
1 in 3 women go from early stage, which I'm at stage 4,
Oh, wow. Okay.
stage 4 metastatic, so it's in my bones. I have some nodules on my lungs and liver.
Okay.
But very few people even, you know, I'm an educated, highly educated
med school.
nurse professional. And even though I focused on pediatrics, I was always up on what was happening in all age groups.
Okay.
But I never knew that 1 in 3 women with early stage breast cancer went on to have stage 4.
Okay. Now, between stage 2 and stage 4, are you ever considered in remission or cancer-free and then it shows up, or does it just never go away?
Well, I myself personally, like most pink ribbon people,
Okay.
kind of thought I would never be visited by breast cancer again.
Okay.
So even though the risk was 30%,
You were
I
going to be
just,
one of the 70.
I wasn't really like, I'm going to be one of the 70. I was just like, oh, you know, what's the chance of it coming back? It really
Yeah.
can't be that bad, but 1 in 3 is bad.
Yeah.
Because that tells us all of the pink ribbon efforts, all of the cure breast cancer. You know, if 1 in 3 women who had early stage breast cancer are dying from breast cancer, we haven't gotten that far.
We need to do a little more work.
In 20 years, there has been no improvement in the mortality rate for breast cancer.
Okay.
Okay? So we've made a lot of grounds in the childhood cancers, the leukemias, etc.
Okay.
But in breast cancer, preventing breast cancer deaths, we haven't come that far.
Okay. Now, is it because there's not enough money going to research, or is it just a really tough bug that they can't figure out what to do with it? Or treatment,
It's just so multifactorial. And what they find is that the breast cancer cells kind of are tricky. So they might respond to one treatment for a certain period of time. Like for me, being stage 4, and having had a lot of friends with stage 4 now and who have passed, certainly, you know, one person might get 3 months off of a certain chemotherapy. And then another person will get 6 months off the same chemotherapy. Some people might get a year off it.
Okay.
But, and then you switch to a new chemotherapy. How long are you going to get on that? Are you going to get 3 months, 6 months, 2 years?
Yeah. And my friend Karen, who passed away, the doctors were telling her that every time you switch chemos, the chances of success are lower because your body just doesn't respond as well. So the more chemos you try, the less chances you have.
It's almost that the cancer just mutates so quickly that, you know, the cells are just, you know, mutating so quickly that each new chemotherapy is basically less effective.
Okay.
And the numbers of breast cancer deaths aren't even real. They are way too low. 44,000 men and women, because men get breast cancer too. Women have a 1 in 7 chance of getting breast cancer. So you're sitting here with me.
Okay.
If there were 5 other women in the room, then at least 1 would have breast cancer. It's 1 in 7 women.
Okay.
For men, it's 1 in 1,100.
Okay.
But don't think it doesn't exist, because men get breast cancer
Now,
and should be checked.
Are there screenings for men? Because, like, once you hit 40, you know, our medical world, I guess, medical field, encourages women to get tested. But is there any comparable testing available for men? Or
Nope.
is that what we're trying to do, is raise the awareness to
We're
get
trying
checked?
awareness. With men, their self-breast exams are much easier because they have much less tissue. So, you know,
hope.
any lumps or bumps or redness
Okay.
or drainage from the nipple, indents, an inverted nipple that wasn't inverted, which is what happened to me.
Oh, okay.
And under the nipple, I could feel a lump, and I went to the doctor. But the United States Task Force, years ago, we used to start mammograms at 35, and then for money saving and all of this, and not, you know, they weren't seeing a huge benefit at diagnosing breast cancer younger, and there were too many false positives, so the United States Task Force made it to age 50 to get your first mammogram.
Okay.
But I can tell you that I don't know a single doctor who is following that, because
Yeah, my doctor.
you know, you got to get your mammograms
my doctor
early.
saying, "Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're going now."
Got to get your mammograms early.
So, tell me about.
When I switched to stage 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So after 4 years, after my mastectomy, chemo, and radiation,
Okay.
because I have hormone receptor positive breast cancer, I was put on tamoxifen, which lowers the effect of estrogen on cancer cells
Okay.
and just overall lowers the estrogen in your body.
Okay.
So it kind of puts you into a menopause at 38. That wasn't like what I was really going for, but that's what happens.
Not really.
So 4 years after all of that, I had a pain in my hip, and my doctor at Dana-Farber, Hal Burstein, told me that you know, if and when it does come back, which is mostly when, he said,
Just what you want to hear.
it would be probably pain in your hip. So he was
Really?
right on the money.
Wow.
Right on the
Okay.
money. So I went in, found out that it was spread to my bones, my hip and pelvis. I walked with a cane for a year. I've had a lot of pain. I've been on restricted activities for years now. So I was 42, and I was told that I had stage 4 metastatic, which is terminal breast cancer.
Okay.
So what I was saying before about 44,000 men and women
Okay.
in the U.S. dying from breast cancer every year,
Okay.
that number is very low, because if they can't write breast cancer on your death certificate, you don't get counted as dying from breast cancer.
Okay.
So if you have breast cancer and you're
So
on
if it's-
chemotherapy and then you get pneumonia and die, and they
It's the
write
pneumonia.
so the numbers are way lower,
Skews the-
way lower than
okay.
anyone thinks.
Now, can other cancers other than breast cancer become metastatic?
Absolutely, you know,
And metastatic,
means spread to another organ.
okay.
So say lung cancer. Lung cancer, you know, in a lot of ways acts like breast cancer, which is why
Okay.
some of the treatments now they're finding overlapping,
Oh,
which
okay.
is, you know, something on the forefront, and they're doing immunotherapy and
Okay.
targeted therapies, and you know, there's hope. There's
Okay.
hope. What's
Okay.
coming down the pike for us? That there will be some really new innovative things now that we've been able to identify the genome and the DNA. I mean, they're
Wow.
really getting into this much deeper level. So
Wow.
there is hope, absolutely.
Okay.
But if somebody has lung cancer and they say, oh, it's spread, usually it goes to the bones, the liver, the brain.
Okay.
Breast cancer, bones, liver, brain.
Okay. Now, I'm just also
Lungs,
thinking,
breast cancer goes to lungs
Okay.
too.
because in my friend's situation, she was inoperable
Mm-hmm.
because I guess the cancer cells, even though they didn't spread to other organs, they were around arteries or something, and they wouldn't have been able to get all the cancer out. So she said that she would be on some kind of chemo for the rest of her life, just to keep it in check. Would that
Yes.
also be considered metastatic because the cancer never goes away, or because it didn't spread into another bone or organ?
Well, it sounds to me that it was in her omentum
Okay.
and probably throughout her entire abdomen.
Okay.
And, you know, so that's metastatic. That's stage
Okay.
4. That's terminal cancer.
Okay.
I don't know the statistics on ovarian cancer in terms of treating and such, but I can tell you that, you know,
I heard
it
it's known
seems
as the
to me
silent
that,
killer because there really isn't.
yeah,
a
some women
test
can
for
have
it.
a size of a watermelon in their belly. It's all an ovarian tumor and ovarian cancer, and they just think they've gained weight.
Yeah.
You know, the breast is something that can be examined and palpated,
Right.
and you feel the lumps and bumps, but women
Yeah.
just don't, you know, they have the heaviness, and they
Well, she
they
also
can't really
was, they were
correlate it.
misdiagnosing her as, gallbladder issues.
That's very
and
common too. It's very common
So it's
too.
very hard to diagnose that. So.
But anyone who
Okay.
has stage 4
Okay.
terminal metastatic cancer is on
Okay.
treatment for the rest of their life.
Okay. Now
The
is
second they stop treatment, they're going to die.
Okay. Now, what is involved in the treatment? Is it like full-blown chemo? Because, you know, I apologize because I'm very naive in this area, which is why I have you on the show. But you don't look like you're going through cancer treatments. You have your hair, you have your eyelashes, you know. What
Most
kind
of my
of treatment?
eyelashes came back. So I'm on a drug that is just 10 years old.
Okay.
And I only had to take it for 5 years. It's called Zometa.
Okay.
And they found in lung cancer patients
Okay.
that when the disease had spread to the bone, that the biphosphonates, which is a type of drug that Zometa is,
Okay.
can slow down the progression in the bone remarkably.
Oh, okay.
And because there was so much transfer of breast cancer cells to bone,
Okay.
they gave it a go, and they can't believe
Excellent.
the outstanding results.
Great.
When I was initially diagnosed 7 years ago, and I'm going
Okay.
to talk about those statistics,
Okay.
that I'm sitting here today 7 years later.
Wow.
When I was initially diagnosed at 42
Okay.
with stage 4, the doctor gave me 3 to 5 years to live. Of course,
And you've blown
I was
that out of
like,
the water.
wow. Yes, I have. But I was like, wow, I got a lot of things to get done.
Yeah. get that
3 to
bucket list
5 years, like, wow, that was just hanging over my head.
Yeah.
But the reason he told me that is because only 50% of men and women diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, only 50% live 2 to 5 years.
Wow.
Okay? So at only 22% live 5 years,
Okay.
and I'm at 7.
That's awesome.
So I'm an outlier, and my doctor
You
and
were a
I,
trailblazer.
I'm a trailblazer. Neither one of us know why I'm still here and why I'm doing so well. You know, it's
Well, we're not going to question
it's-
that. We're just really
yeah.
excited.
So what I do is I just keep moving. I wake up in the morning, I say, oh, thank you, God, another day. And I just keep moving forward. And I just feel like if I keep trying to take care of myself and do what I'm doing, helping other people, that, you know, hopefully it won't catch me for a while. But just that I'm sitting here living, breathing today is in
that's
itself a gift and a true miracle. I'm very grateful. But the
Wow.
treatment I'm on, I had to have my ovaries out because of the estrogen.
Okay.
I did the 5 years of the bone medicine, which is an infusion
Okay.
every month. And I'm on an aromatase inhibitor, which is an anti-estrogen drug.
Okay.
So I'm one of the lucky ones, and I mean that in every
Yeah.
sense of the word.
So, going back to when you were 38 and you were first diagnosed,
Mhm.
how did you and your family come to terms with that? I know you said you were really scared and it was until you were on the operating table, but did you attend support groups? Did you have to go get second and third opinions? And
Okay, so
I mean, did your
It's-
family go for support because their lives are also significantly affected?
oh yeah. Well, it was kind of a whirlwind, you know.
Okay.
It's like you get diagnosed, you know, I had a lump, I had the mammogram, I had an ultrasound, another mammogram,
Okay.
went into Boston, another mammogram, now we need to do a biopsy. I mean, you almost can't even take a breath in between the panic and the busyness.
Right. Because
You
it's
know,
also pretty time critical too. The longer you wait.
you know, a lot of people stress about that, and, you know, like, oh, I'm not going to start my treatment for a month, or I'm not having surgery for a month. That's not so time critical. It's more important to be properly diagnosed. I met a couple surgeons before I chose the one
Okay.
that I wanted to do my mastectomy. Because I worked at Children's, I wanted to go to Dana-Farber so I could just go across the street,
Okay.
have my treatments, and go back to work.
Now,
I
were you
worked
able
all
to go
through my
back to work?
chemotherapy.
Oh,
I
wow,
worked all
okay.
through my radiation. I think I took 2 weeks off of work after surgery. So I didn't really tell my mom and my dad, Vito, until, you know, I knew exactly what I was dealing with.
Okay.
So I had 14 biopsies done over 2 days. And once those came back and I knew what it was and, you know, that I would need a mastectomy, chemo, and radiation, then I told my mom and dad. And I had them come over, and my husband and I sat down with them, and I guess on the phone I had said, I need you to come over because I have to talk to you, and they were in that instant
That's the red
scared.
flag. Yeah.
So I probably shouldn't have said that because they were nervous the whole drive over from Gloucester to North Reading, but honestly, that all just happened like this.
Okay.
You know, you have to be at chemo, and then you go home and you don't feel good, and then you have to go back to chemo, and then you know, surgery was boom, 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 and then radiation, you go 33 days in a row.
Wow.
You know, you have to get there and park and pay for parking, go upstairs in the elevator. You know, it's just crazy. Went back and forth to work most days, and then after that, they're like, okay, so, you know, we'll see you in 3 months.
Bye.
And that's when you panic because you're like, oh my gosh, I've seen a doctor almost every day for 4 months. And now all of a sudden, you know, they're like,
it's like,
you
wait,
go home and we'll
no.
see you in 3 months. And you're like, you're just going to leave me out there like in limbo? So I was going for my regular checkups every 3 months, every 6 months, and then I got the hip pain.
Okay. So let's talk about hope and friendship. How did that come about?
Okay, good idea. Thank you, Linda.
Because we need to be a little, you know, moving toward the positive, which, no.
Absolutely.
I'm very excited for you, and that is very positive news. But
I get that.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's, because we also have some photos that we want to take a look at in a few minutes. So.
Definitely. So, hope and friendship.
I like the name. It's very warm and supportive.
Early on, I was so busy, and I just went right back to my life after those 4 months completely, that I didn't really reach out for support. I don't think I even had time. It was such a whirlwind. I think if they had something like in the hospital when I was just waiting there doing nothing, waiting for blood tests and scans and treatments and radiation, like then I might have sat in something. But when it came back and I was told it was terminal, I went to the Healing Garden in Harvard, Mass, which is a wonderful, beautiful place. I love the Healing Garden, and I'm so grateful to them. But it was over an hour drive, both ways in the rush hour period. And when I got diagnosed the second time, I had radiation to my hip and pelvis.
Oh, how can you drive? Could you drive?
I could drive, but sitting was very painful, and I had the cane. And I got radiation sickness the second time around. So I was like flat on my back for like 6 months. And I had to leave my job and everything. So driving to Harvard got to be really bad. And then when I got the radiation sickness, I just couldn't go. So when I was flat on my back, I'm like, why is the only stage 4 breast cancer support group
50
in
miles
Harvard,
away.
Mass? Why is there nothing? There's nothing on the North Shore. We're the only ones north of Boston, east to Gloucester, all the way up to southern New Hampshire, and west to Harvard.
So you're still covering
and south
a huge
to Boston,
area.
like I said. Yeah, so we're covering the Merrimack Valley, the North Shore, southern New Hampshire, north of Boston.
And you are located in Wilmington?
So we are in Wilmington. We just
got a grant.
Got a grant, which we will talk about.
Oh, let's talk about it now.
Okay. So we have a photo, if you want to pull that up.
It's actually photo number 9, I believe.
Yep. I wrote a grant because I started the support group 5 years ago.
Okay.
On my own.
Wow.
Started finding members, and you know, it's been over 5 years. So we started out in a church basement. And then we moved to a Boy Scout cabin. And then we moved to a town hall. And we had a few other places in between. And most recently we were in a probably 10 by 8 boardroom setting which was very
And
sterile.
how many people were in the group, roughly?
Usually we have about 8.
Okay.
Which is a nice number. If you have too many, it gets overwhelming, and
Yeah.
we don't like to have too few either. We don't want anyone to get diagnosed, but we
Well,
want
true.
the people who need us to find us.
Right.
So we were always moving, and I was spending so much time trying to find meeting space every other week, because we've been meeting every other Wednesday for 5 years.
And that's got to be stressful when you are feeling at 100%.
Right.
So
that's
wrote
like
this-
that's 125 meetings in 5 years.
Wow.
To keep finding space. So somebody told me about the Cummings Properties Foundation grant
Okay.
and how that works. I'm sure everybody in your area is familiar with Cummings Properties.
Yes.
So Mr. and Mrs. Cummings, all of the rent money that they collect from their 86 office buildings
Wow.
goes to the Cummings Foundation
Foundation.
for
Okay.
charities. So, for instance, they gave $40 or $50 million to Tufts University to build a veterinary school.
Wow.
And they've done gigantic projects like that.
Okay.
The other thing they've been doing is $100,000 grants to 100 recipients per year for like 7 to 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So I applied for one of those.
Okay.
And I recommend anyone who wants to apply for the Cummings Foundation grant. It's cummingsfoundation.org.
Okay.
They
Now,
do it
you
every
have
year.
to be a designated nonprofit organization.
You do.
So
You have to be a
501c3?
designated 501c3 nonprofit.
Which you are.
Absolutely. Which we are. I started the support group first, and then I realized all the amazing things that we could do if we raised some money for the patients and their families.
Okay.
And so then we became a 501c3 3 years ago this November.
Congratulations.
Yep. So, so to get back to the Cummings Foundation grant, I asked for it instead of $100,000. I asked, could we have a meeting space in one of your office buildings?
Oh. Okay.
And that's what we got. I found out.
Excellent.
My dad died March 22nd. Total shock of an aneurysm of this year. And then a week later, my dad always wanted me to get a space for our support group meetings and all the other things we can do at a breast care center.
Okay.
And so a week later, I got a call from Dave Hurley from Cummings Foundation
Okay.
about receiving the grant in the form of a free 10-year lease
Awesome.
in
Oh,
Wilmington.
Wow.
Yep, we don't even pay utilities.
Excellent.
It's a beautiful space. We've had all of the furniture mostly donated. It's all
Okay.
set up. It's ready to go. We've been meeting there for 2 months.
Great.
It's fantastic. We just got our fridge. We do coffee, tea, hot chocolate. We have a beautiful dining area for when we do luncheons and
Wow.
breakfasts with our meetings.
This is like quite a space then.
Yep, and then we have a living room style setting.
So
and
you could actually do some of the fundraising there?
oh, we could, yeah. And someone just donated a Tiffany lamp.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just been amazing and beautiful. We actually have a photo of the space.
Okay, I think
which
that's
is
photo number 10.
Picture number 10 is a picture of our beautiful space when it was under construction.
Oh, okay.
But we needed handicap accessible. We needed handicap accessible bathrooms. We needed privacy. We needed parking. We needed enough space for meals and for the living room style. And this place has it all. It couldn't be better. We're very
Wow.
grateful to the Cummings Foundation and to Mr. and Mrs. Cummings. We did a fun recipient dinner
Okay,
Uh,
excellent.
at their building right where Strager is now on Route 128
Oh, okay.
in Woburn, in that big glass building. That's where the reception
Oh.
was for the grant recipients.
Wow.
So just amazing. You know, they give out 100 of those a year, $100,000.
Excellent.
So go for it. If you have a cause that
So-
you believe in, go for it.
Speaking of fundraising,
Mm-hmm.
now some of the other pictures that you have available you had a team represented in the Boston Marathon last year. Was that for fundraising, or was that
Well,
for
that's interesting.
awareness?
One of the fun things I did after I retired from nursing,
Okay.
I did real estate for a couple years.
Okay.
Met this wonderful attorney in North Reading, Andy Schultz, through real estate, and he had run the Boston Marathon in 2013.
Okay.
He was a mile from the finish with the Hoyts when the bomb went off,
Oh,
the bombs,
Oh, wow.
that terrible day. And his family was at the finish line. Neither knew if either were okay, like all of those families.
Yeah, exactly.
And he called me up and was doing the Boston Marathon in 2014 because they gave 5,000 of those people who got stuck and didn't get to finish the thing.
The bibs.
The bibs. He had a bib.
Oh,
He said,
wow.
I'm going to run it again. I'm going to run it for hope and friendship.
Wow. Okay.
So he ran it. He raised $3,200.
Excellent.
So the first picture is Andy
okay.
Schultz.
Which is picture number 1.
Yep.
Okay.
With my daughter, Kayla St. Pierre. And, you know, that's right at Marathon Sports in Wellesley.
Okay.
And the second picture is my niece, Casey Reese,
Okay.
and her sister, my other niece, Marissa Reese, who rooted him on that day. And he finished.
Excellent.
$3,200.
Wow.
So the full name of our foundation is the Hope and Friendship Metastatic Breast Cancer Foundation.
Okay. Sorry.
And that was
I
important
abbreviated
to
on
me.
my notes.
That's okay. That's important to me because there's a lot of breast cancer, especially, you know, in October. You hear a lot about breast cancer.
Okay.
Not too many people hear about stage 4, and that, you know, people are suffering with stage 4, people are living with stage 4. I've been to several national conferences for stage 4 breast cancer.
Okay.
And, you know, the longest person I ever saw who's lived with stage 4 breast cancer as an inspiration to me was 35 years.
Wow.
I mean, it's unheard of, you know, but it gives us something to hope for
Oh, absolutely.
and to strive for.
Hence the hope and friendship.
Yeah, you know, my support group facilitator, Marie Luca, was with us
Okay.
for 5 years. Now she does interfaith chaplaincy for our patients in the
Wow.
support group and their family members and caregivers.
Oh, okay.
So her name's Marie Luca. She came up with the name Hope and Friendship.
Oh, okay.
So
Thank you, Marie.
Thank you, Marie. Yes, thank you, Marie. So the idea is, you know, you come to the support group, you find hope. That's what I found at the Healing Garden in Harvard.
Okay.
That's where I found my hope. Like, oh my gosh, people are living with this. Some are thriving with this. You know, you make your life worthwhile. You live every day to the fullest. You say I love you. You hug your friends. That's where I learned all of that, was at the Healing Garden.
Oh, wow.
And so she like put it right on the money, the hope and the friendship. You know, the friendships that we have, we've lost in my efforts, we've lost 13 members
Wow. That's got to be hard.
in 5 years. Just
each
in
time it
our
happens.
just this little thing that we've had going on
Yeah.
for 5 years, which has gotten bigger, but you know, we've lost 13 members. And those are our beloved sisters and Peter Devereaux, our brother. Never to be forgotten. We remember them every year. We remember their families every year. This year we also got the Rosengard grant.
Really?
The Rita Rosengard
Is
grant.
that the
Risa?
I've read about
Risa
one of them.
Rosengard grant. Yep.
$5,000?
$5,000. Risa passed away from cancer, and she left 2 little girls and a husband. And her family and her memory, her mother and her husband, and I think a brother, and several other people, create a foundation where they donate money. They don't do services, but they donate money to people who have programs and services for the families, the children, and the caregivers.
Oh, okay.
So this year, November 15th,
Okay.
we're doing our first annual remembrance workshop and dinner for our families, children, and caregivers of our beloved sisters and brother who passed.
Oh, wow.
And so that's what we're using the Rosengard Foundation grant for.
Wow.
And I can't even explain to you. I've been wanting to do this for 5 years.
Excellent.
You know, so this is just a wild time in our foundation's history, because this is the first annual. This will be an annual thing. The same families will come together. They'll see each other again. They know that all of the women and our brother Peter came to these meetings, and you know, because we all go to the wakes and the funerals as a group. You know, they know who we are. We're the group. We're the support group. We've been mentioned in eulogies, you know, that the support group made a difference for their loved one. And that's where, besides the kids in my life, which are, you know, huge, and my own family and friends, I mean, to hear that our support group members went home and talked to their husband about how much it was helping them, and you know, that to me just brings it all back home.
Really, yeah.
That like, wow, I'm
You've
making
made
a difference.
Exactly.
I'm helping people like I like. We have several programs. We have the support group program.
Okay.
We have, you know, which we're going to do like an assessment at the family program in November to see would they like a grief support group? Would they like a spousal group? Would they like a teenager group? Because now that we have a space, we can expand to anything now. It just multiplies our efforts. You know, I'm just so excited, I can't even explain it. So that's the support group piece. In the support group, we bring in music therapy, art therapy. You know, we do educational workshops. You know, I can't even remember right this second, but we do a lot of, you know, bonus things in our support group meetings. And Melissa Audier is our new facilitator. And so that's our support group program. All right?
Got it.
So number 2 is our retreat program. So our first retreat maybe should have been called a workshop. So that was a year ago. Our friend Peter was there. Many of our friends we've lost in the last about 16 months were there. And it was called the 5 Wishes program. And that was at Rolling Ridge in North Andover. We had all organic smoothies for breakfast, all organic lunch at a huge window overlooking a lake.
Ooh, beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. The 5 wishes are, you know, this is where the line is drawn between pink ribbon efforts and stage 4 metastatic terminal breast cancer. So pink ribbon is like, you're gonna make it, you're gonna beat it. I used to get cards, you're gonna beat this, you know? But pink ribbon is all about, you know, you're cured, you know. You kind of walk away from it like, oh, that was just a blip on the screen, now back to my life. But stage 4, we're more like, you know, we have to get our tombstone, our gravestone. We have to write our will.
Planning your own funeral.
We have to do our advance directive. We have to give away our jewelry to who we want it to go to. It's all about preparation, because once we do those things, which I've done most of it, once we do those things, then we can get back to living. But because we're mostly women, women like to plan and get things done. Even my friend Joan Greenaway, who just passed away, she planned her whole funeral. And she was from Ireland, so she had a giant Irish wake. She picked the menu, the music. So so that is kind of the demarcation line between pink ribbon and we, you know, we do pink ribbon too. All of my things have pink ribbon, but the early stage versus stage 4. And stage 4 people to be in pink ribbon groups, we scare them. We scare the early stage women. And I would have been scared if I met a stage 4 woman when I thought I just had early stage.
1 in 3.
I mean, so
it's like look to your left, look to your right. One of you's
gone. That's just, you know. So that's kind of how I knew that stage 4 was a totally separate entity and needed another group.
Okay.
So the 5 wishes is all about preparation.
Okay, now,
So that was our first retreat.
okay. Now, is that the picture with the labyrinth that you have?
Now that's our second retreat.
That's your second retreat, okay, because
So
I
the
thought
so
that
the
picture
5
was really
wishes, maybe looking back, I think we should have called it a workshop,
cool. Okay,
because it wasn't the happiest of occasions doing all of that planning, you know. So for your demise, I mean it
yeah.
was very productive. Some of us went home and did it right away, and some of us, you know, like, I still have things I have to do. I've done some, but excuse me, my friend Peter, you know, he knew he was pretty sick right then, so he did it all in 2 weeks.
wow.
And it was a good thing he did, and he was very, you know, at peace because he did. So that's very important for us. So our second retreat was a real retreat kind of program.
Okay.
We went to a Gunkwit. It was an overnight retreat, massages, and by the way, everything that Hope and Friendship does is free.
Oh, wow.
Nobody pays for anything that we do.
Okay.
Okay, that's why we raise the money. So we had massages, we had lunch by the ocean at the Cliff House in Agunquit. We stayed overnight at the Anchorage. We had meals at the Anchorage. We did meditation, we did Reiki. We sat by the ocean in the sun and got some vitamin D, which is very important when it comes to cancer. Everyone in America needs their vitamin D. So that was a real retreat,
Okay.
which was like, it's respite for the families, and it's like respite and rejuvenation and quality of life issues.
Now, do the families go or just
No, just the support group members.
Okay.
So it just was really, you know, meaningful, incredible experience, especially with my friend Teresa and my friend Joyce.
Okay. Now, the picture, I don't know if Colleen has shown it or not because we can't quite see it in here, but there was a labyrinth. Did you guys make that out of stones, or was that already there?
That was
or
at the Anchorage.
Were those the 5?
That's right outside the spa at the Anchorage.
Oh, okay.
So
So
it's
just
a
happened to be
labyrinth.
there?
Yeah.
Cool.
So a labyrinth is a meditative walk. You can do it even on a map with your finger, and you just,
okay.
the idea is you're focused on something so your mind isn't racing, has a chance to decompress, reduce the stress, and relax. So the labyrinth, you walk it around, and then you go back this way, and then you go back this way, all the way into the middle,
Okay.
and then you go all the way back. And one of my friends wasn't actually feeling that well, and I was like, what do you think? You want to do the labyrinth? And she's like, yeah, I want to do the labyrinth.
Yeah.
That was my friend Teresa Morissette. She absolutely wanted to do that. We lost her soon after that. She's now one of our beloved Sunbeam Angels. But she, you know, everything we wanted to do, even though she didn't feel well, she made sure we did it.
Okay.
Because we were Joyce and I were a little hesitant, you sure? And she's like, oh yeah, we're doing this. You know, inspirational woman.
It's just courage. you
Yeah,
know,
courage.
It's amazing, the courage.
So the love we have for each other as support group members runs deep, really. You know.
So what are some of the, you just mentioned that all of the services, all of the meetings, the support groups, the retreats, everything is free of charge. What are some of the fundraisers that Hope and Friendship runs?
Yep. So coming up, we're doing a Prince Pizza Night in Saugus on Route 1 at Giggles Comedy Club.
Okay.
And
Is this information available on your website?
It's on Thursday, October 22nd.
Okay.
If people wanted to email and get tickets, the tickets are $20. You get all you can eat pizza and all you can drink non-alcoholic beverages, and 3 comedians, my presence, and one of the fundraising committee members runs a 50-50 raffle.
Okay.
And a silent auction, and we sell T-shirts and bracelets of Hope and Friendship, and so I can be contacted for tickets for that at hopeandfriendship@gmail.com.
Okay.
And of course, our website is hopeandfriendship.org. So the other programs, so we did support groups and retreats.
Okay, I keep interrupting you, I'm sorry.
I interrupt myself. So we have scholarships.
Okay.
All right, so those are key. That's also where I found a lot of hope and a lot of friendship.
Okay.
A lot of friendship. And Peter met some other guys with stage 4 breast cancer when we went to some of the national conferences together. Okay. But many of our support group members have gone to national conferences. And the Metastatic Breast Cancer Network, Chicago, Houston, Chapel Hill, the CAM for Cancer conference in West Palm Beach, where you learn a lot more about treating yourself holistically, eating healthy, exercising, rest, stress reduction, support groups. These are the ways to live longer.
Okay, and not only you need to do these things, this is how you do these things.
Exactly, totally educational.
Okay.
And of course, at the CAM for Cancer conference, they serve only organic food.
Okay, and we have a picture of the West Palm Beach conference.
Yes, we do.
Photo number 4.
Photo number 4 is Peter Devereaux, me, and our beloved angel, Joan Greenaway.
And then there's also another, the Houston conference.
The Houston conference is metastatic breast cancer. Peter spoke there in front of 220 women, and there were 2 men there with breast cancer. And Peter is part of the largest cluster of male breast cancer in the country, which is from Camp Lejeune. The water was toxic there for 30 years.
Wow.
And they had childhood leukemias and thyroid cancer and stillborn babies and a lot of people, colon cancer.
Nobody ever put it together.
But 84 patients with male breast cancer. And Peter was one of those, and he passed away last year. And so one of the guys we met in Houston had never met another male breast cancer patient.
Oh.
Peter had, because he has a book written, he is in a movie, he's made calendars.
He's in a movie?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Semper Fi, it's a documentary about what happened at Camp Lejeune.
Oh, okay.
The book he's in is called A Trust Betrayed, and it's written by the guy who wrote the book for The Perfect Storm out of Gloucester. Sebastian Younger, I think his name is. So this guy had never met another male breast cancer patient, so he thought Peter was like, and then our other friends, Bob and Linda, were there, and he's a male breast cancer patient too. And you know, what a place to connect. And at the Metastatic Breast Cancer Network conference every year, this year it's in Boston, which is nice. I've been to it twice in Boston.
It's convenient.
It's nice for me. They give you the latest in stage 4 metastatic breast cancer treatments.
Oh, wow.
What's just come out, what's about to come out, and what's in phase 1, 2, and 3 clinical trials.
Okay.
So that's where we get our annual information that people.
Okay, so they don't give you the medicines, they just give you the information saying this is on the horizon. Okay.
Yep, they give us all the information. That's where people stand up. How long have you had stage 4 breast cancer? That's where a woman stood up and was, you know, everybody stands up.
Okay.
Then you sit down. If you're 2 years, you sit down. Who's lived 5 years? Sit down. Who's lived 10 years? Sit down. So last year in Chapel Hill, the longest person was 14 years. I'm like, oh, that's good. But I'm like, where's the lady from 35 years? 35 years was in Chicago. In Houston was a person was at 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, every day's a gift. All of us in the world should live that every day's a gift. So anyway, so our scholarships, you know, you get to go on, the flight is free, the hotel is free, the registration for the conference is free. Any of the conference activities that you're involved in are free. Transfer to and from the airport is free.
Wow.
Because you know why? If you have stage 4 cancer, any kind of stage 4 cancer, you take a huge financial hit.
Oh, absolutely.
It's financially disabling. You know, a lot of my friends go to chemo every single week. Then they're sick for 3 days. And they've been doing this for 5 years. They can't work. You know, the husband or the spouse is scraping nickels together to make ends meet. The co-pays, you know, the parking, the driving, you know, you want to eat organic, but it's so much more expensive. So one of the huge things for me was that all of the programs we offer are free.
Wow.
So that's scholarships.
Okay, we're just about out of time, so we're going to have to really hurry up.
Okay.
And we have 30 seconds left.
All right.
So the scholarships, were there?
Scholarships, we have an enrichment and a bereavement program.
Okay.
2 minutes.
2 minutes left.
And we have the symptom management program.
Okay.
That's very important because you might want a massage, but who can pay $100 for a massage?
Exactly. Okay.
You might want some acupuncture for your pain.
Okay.
Who can afford it? You might want to just go get a facial and relax and feel young and fresh and renewed.
Get a pedicure with a little leg massage thing.
Exactly. So that's the symptom management program.
Okay.
The enrichment program we go to a concert at the holidays, and we do a holiday dinner. Bereavement, we go to dinner after everyone goes to the wake and funeral. We go out and we process our grief together. And then the bereavement extends to the families.
Okay.
And you know, that's what we do. Hopeandfriendship.org.
Okay. Now, if someone wanted to volunteer, even though they're not personally going through cancer treatments, could someone like me volunteer?
We need volunteers all the time. What volunteers can do is raise money. They can run a fundraiser. They can get together with friends, colleagues, neighbors, family. They can participate in our fundraising efforts.
Okay.
They can help us get the word out about the group by hanging up flyers around their town. They can, you know, find us on Facebook and friend us and spread the word that way. They can give rides to treatments, to meetings, to shopping, run errands, help with meals.
Do laundry.
Do laundry, yard work.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want me cooking anybody's meals.
Me neither. Yard work, help with home repairs. You know, sometimes there is no spouse, and it's a woman alone dealing with this illness. Her family might be far away, needs help around the house, needs help with the yard. Some people have gifts and could come lead a support group meeting.
Okay.
You know, find us online, hopeandfriendship.org. We'd love to have
or if
creative.
someone's an acupuncturist,
Yeah.
they could offer
Gift certificates for the holiday gift bags. We're always looking for candles and snacks and paper goods for our support group meetings. And we're open to ideas. You know, if you have ideas, you know, find us. And, you know, we want to talk about any kind of ideas you have.
Well, the alarm is going off. So I want to thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda.
Congratulations.
It's been my pleasure.
I'm like inspired by you. So thank you.
I'm inspired
very much.
that you're working so hard to get the word out. And, you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So let's remember our breast cancer friends.
And all cancers.
And all cancers. And
live
I'm
another
sorry
day,
about your
get to
friend.
another birthday.
Another birthday. I'll be 50 in February, and I think I'm going to make it.
All right, I know you're going to make it. Right, and thank you everyone for joining us this evening, and I will see you around town. Thanks so much. Happy fall.